Good morning! Just getting a drink really quickly because I pushed the button too early. I thought I was swiping away, but I actually pushed the live button, so sauce. All right, so, oh dear. So today is turkey work. If you saw the video before, we just did like a turkey work kind of like fake fringe. And today we're gonna go straight up turkey work. So this stitch is a little bit confusing. So I actually haven't done it very often. I did it a couple of times when I first started just to like try out the different stitches and everything. It really wasn't a favorite of mine, so I decided to just let it go because yeah, I was like, I just wasn't that interested, if you know what I mean. So I've come back to revisit it and see how I can do. So I'm just gonna grab a piece of practice thread here. I don't know why this one always tangles when I get it out. And I'm gonna do a little practice one first, and then I'll show you where we're gonna put it on our actual hoop because the shape is gonna change a little bit. So in the actual hoop, we're gonna work it in a circle like this, and then another circle like this. And we'll probably have to do kind of 2 layers. There we go. Probably have to do 2 layers around the circle, meaning you kind of go around once and then go around again and then stop. And then this small one will go around once and probably go around again and then stop. And that way it'll be nice and like lush, you know? So what we're gonna do is you take a section of thread, and I'm gonna do them really big here so you can kind of see the pattern, because this is one of those stitches that you can't just do it however you want. You have to follow the pattern. So that's a little bit intimidating to me because I don't really like to follow the pattern. I'm not one of those people that's like, right, first you do this, and now you do this, and now you do this, and then you just keep doing that. I'm like, well, what happens if we do it this way? Or what happens if I make my own way to do it? But with turkey work, you kind of have to do it the right way, if you know what I mean. So we're gonna start with no knot on the end. No knot. And we're gonna go down here on the line, and you're gonna leave a tail. So with this one, kind of like the free one, you're always gonna have loops up at the top. And you're gonna have to kind of keep them out of the way where you're stitching. So it might be good to have a a hoop stand for this, or to kind of do it in your lap or somewhere where you can like hold it, because all of these loops need to stay up this way, and they can't get like mixed up into your threads, you know? They should all stay up. So after you go down, that's all we've done. We've left a little tail. You're gonna come up here to the left of it. And then come over here to the right of it. And that's like your tacking stitch. So that kind of like holds down this thread so that it can't come out. So now we're gonna do another loop. So we're gonna come back. Some people like to go through the same hole or even right next to that same hole. So here's our first loop. Now, if you're not going to cut these, if you wanna make like a decorative border or something like that, and you wanna keep the loops, because in the end, they're gonna look like this, like a scallop type situation. But we're gonna cut ours. So we wanna try and keep the loops kind of the same length, but I'm not getting scientific here. So if one's a little bit longer, one's a little bit shorter, that's totally fine. You just wanna keep that loop up like that. And just like the first one, we're gonna go down here. We're gonna go up in the middle right here. So like down here is gonna make a straight line, and then these are gonna come kind of out of that line. Yeah, so it's just the same as the first one, left to right. And now we're gonna make another one. So you're gonna come up here. Do your loop. Yeah. Come back down. Okay, and then tack it down. Again, I'm trying to go slow so that you see what I'm doing. Yeah, so these are the loops that we'll cut and they'll make the fringe. So up in the middle, make your loop. And then tack it down. And I'm not gonna lie, this is one of those stitches where I say that in my head almost every single time. Come up in the middle, make a loop, tack it down. So I'm gonna say it again. Yeah, come up in the middle, make a loop, tack it down. Okay, now remember how I said we're gonna do 2 layers of these. So we'll go around the circle once and we'll go around the circle again. So do you kind of notice how, get out of there. Do you kind of notice how in the middle of each one, there's 2 strands, but kind of where these right here are, there's no strands? Yeah? So when we go back the next time, you kind of want to, I gotta start it with a loop. So I can get back on track, you know? You wanna try and offset these so that you're going down and it almost looks like a brick stitch here. So for this one, Calvina's just said, how long should the loops be? Is there too long or too short? When I do the actual one, you'll see how long they should be because you'll get the loop kind of guide, if you know what I mean. And these ones you're gonna wanna kind of stack. Like this. See how they like are offset there? So they kind of fill in those gaps, whereas here they're not. Yeah, like I said, it's really tricky, but I feel like you guys can do it. So come up in the middle. Oh my goodness, I almost pulled it out. It does use a lot of thread as well. Yeah, make a stitch over. Then tack it down. Okay, I'm gonna stop there because I'm out of thread. But in the end, you'll just do a little knot. Okay, and you're left with this. So all of these loops we will cut. And then all of these loops we can trim. Obviously you can trim it as short as you want to, but you'll see in the pattern how long to do it, if you know what I mean. So these ones we did two rows, and you can see that they're quite, it's quite full there, like lush. Whereas these ones, there's only one row, and you can totally tell, like, it's like spotty. Yeah. So all I'm doing right now is running the eye of my needle through these hairs here. And they just separate them a little bit. So it's just one strand instead of 6 strands all together. I'm just like separating them. So there you go. So there is the turkey work. How we're gonna do it is like one step more. But don't worry, you can do it. You can do it. Don't be scared. It's fine. It's all fine. I wouldn't have you do it if I didn't think that you were able to do it. Okay? So I'm just tightening this on here. All right. So we have 2 places where we're going to do the turkey work. Here and here. There we go. Okay, so you can kind of see that we're gonna have the turkey work go out to here. So I would make your loops a little bit longer than that so you can trim them down. All right, and I'm just gonna make a circle around like this. That's kind of going to be our guide for the lines. So before we did it in a straight line. Now we're gonna do it in a circle. Just gonna make it a little bit bigger like that. And then obviously this one here. Now, the smaller you make your stitches, the smaller you make these here, the more compact they're going to be. And the longer that you make these stitches, the more spread out they're going to be. So here you're seeing 2 rows of like these kind of really small stitches. And this right here is just 1 row of the small stitches. So we're definitely gonna have to go around twice. Okay, stay with me, guys. It's not that bad. It's not as bad as I'm making it sound. Now, I'm gonna mix it up a little bit and do the darker color on the outside. I'm gonna do the lighter color on the inside. So it's gonna be almost like a flower that's purple. Purple on the outside and light purple on the inside. So get your thread out. We can do it, guys. I feel like y'all are quiet because you're like, I don't like this, Tori. I don't like this. Have some faith in yourself. You can do it. You can do it. And because we're going round and round, you actually don't have to stop when you get to finish a circle. You can just keep going around until you finish both the circles. So I'm gonna start here as I'm moving it so you can't see it. I'm gonna start here so that it's exactly how you saw me do it before and slowly turn it around as I'm going so that you can kind of see exactly how to do it. So again, no knot at the end. Just thread my needle and we're gonna go down here. And I'm just gonna stitch straight over that stem. And do you remember we made this stem longer? I'm kind of reaching quite far for that. Let me see. It's a bit too far for me to, it's like in the middle of the table. There we go. Okay, so remember, I'm gonna pull it through and leave a tail, no knot, yeah? And then we're gonna tack it down left to right. So just go straight through this. You don't have to make a space for the stem. And I made my thread really long because I'm obviously going to go around twice. I don't want to have to get thread again. I don't know what's going on with this, how it's like moving a lot. This one? That one. Okay. I'll get it together, guys, I promise. So straight over. Yeah. Up through the middle. Make a loop. Now this is where you know how big your loops are going to be. I like to make mine a little bit longer so that I can, one, hold them easy, because if you made them that short, they're going to be really hard to hold down. And two, I like to be able to cut them and trim them up if I need to. Whereas if you only made them this short, like this, then after you trimmed them, that's pretty much it. So like if you've kind of gotten one on a weird angle or cut one like really short on accident, you can't trim it down like hardly at all. So I'm just going to make mine a little bit longer. So we came up through the middle, go forward a stitch. This is what I get. This is what I get for making it long in preparation for using a lot of thread. Why you gotta do me like that? Yeah? Tack it down. Up through the middle. It's pretty much the same pattern the whole time. Go forward a stitch. And like I said, the smaller that you make these stitches, the more compact they'll be. However, because we're going to go around twice, oh my gosh, look how tall, that's a big loop. It's really not that big of a deal if they're a little bit bigger than maybe you want. Okay. So again, up through the middle. Go forward a stitch. How are we doing? Is anyone actually stitching at the same time? Or are you all watching like, I am confused? Tack it down. So we're gonna keep going around and round and round like this. Then I'm sorry for anyone who already knows this stitch, but I know normally I would kind of do my bit for a little bit and then stop and then say, you guys can do the rest. But not with this one, I'm sorry. So you're gonna have to suffer through watching all of it. And you do use a lot of thread with this one, so pick a color that you definitely have a lot of. So up through the middle. Y'all are gonna have that in your head the entire time, aren't you? Up through the middle, make a stitch, tack it down. All right, what do we think so far? Are we confused? Are we having problems? I know my loops are really long, and that's because I want to keep them longer so I can cut them down. Also, I think David will probably come home soon from walking Jessie, so just be aware that you might hear some doggy barks or paw prints or whatever. They do try to be quiet, but it doesn't really work that well. And again, we're going to cut all these loops later. Okay. Yeah, we're going to cut all these loops later, so it doesn't matter if they're all the same exact length or not. And of course, you can only go around one time if you want to, if you don't want to make it as full. I'm going to go around twice, which is why I did the 2 rings on here. Nope, 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 nope. This is going to be the hard part. So I'm doing my stitches really small because I want to keep them, I want it to be like quite a lush layer. Obviously, if you make them a little bit bigger, then they won't be as full. But that's okay. We're all different. Am I almost out of thread? I think I am. Okay, so we have 1 ring almost done. Okay. I might do just 1 more ring and then do the next color tomorrow on catch-up day. Because I feel like this video is going to be super long and then it's going to cut me off soon. Because I only get an hour. Almost out of thread. This is where it starts getting tricky because you have stuff on both sides that you have to keep out of the way. Okay, success. I'm gonna put this one right in there like that. Okay. Oh, I made it around once. That was exhausting. Okay, so I've made it around one time. I really haven't got much thread left. Yeah? Let me... David and Jesse are home, just so you know. So I'm doing the next go around. Yeah? So I'm just going to tack this down. And then I think I'm going to have to get more thread because I'm almost finished. Quite a big one. It looks absolutely batshit crazy right now. But don't worry, it'll all come together. And I'm using color, where are you? 00097. Because I know someone will ask, what color is that? Okay, don't forget, you're not putting a knot on the end of your thread. Because I almost just went to do it, to put a knot on again. But there's no knot in this one. So this is what we have so far. All of these here are going to be cut, and they're all going to be trimmed. You can already tell where I just did 2 rows there, it's already looking more lush there. I think the correct term is the pile, like on the carpet. The pile is thicker. Okay, so just the same as before, we're gonna go over. This will be a little bit harder to see because there's already some going on. Then we're gonna come up here, tack it down. I'm making this one smaller so that I can offset the stitches. I'm going to come up in the middle. Again, it's harder to see because we already have a row. Let me squeeze another one of these in here so that I can make it offset. So to offset it, you're just going to go down to make your loop where the stitch is. And then that will put your actual stitch in the middle to the middle. I find it easier to kind of rotate it around as I go. So like I said, put it down where the stitch is, in the middle, right there. Make your loop, and then tack it down, and that will offset it. Jessie's all riled up because she just had a walk. So she's like, oh, what else can I do now? Let's play with all the toys. So again, because I did really small stitches, it's going to be a lot of loops and they're all going to be squished together a lot. So hopefully you can still see what I'm doing and you don't feel like, Tori, you're crazy. Okay, so we're going up through the middle. Make a loop, tack it down. Same as before. I know this is like really boring, guys, but I want to cut the threads, and I feel like if I cut the threads now, then you're not gonna see like how lush they look. Maybe I'll do halfways and then you can see like half, you know, half cut with 2 layers. What are you doing? Not gonna lie though, the more I do this, the more I like it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it's like not really my favorite stitch, just because it's a bit fussy. And I'm normally not one for like really fussy stitches where you have to do them in the same exact way every time. You know, that's like kind of not my vibe. That video is over. Lay in your bed, Jessie. Okay, I'm going to stop here so that you can see half and half. And, oh, no, no, no. What did I just do? Big knot, guys, big knot. I see, I see. Can you stop licking your paws, please? Because it doesn't sound very nice. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. I'm going to zoom back out. Obviously, you're going to go all the way to the end. Hey, hey, hey. Can you stop licking, please? Because it sounds disgusting. Stop. Stop. Just lay down. No. Stop. 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 Stop it. God, it sounds gross. And it's gonna be right in the middle of the video. Yuck. Oh, good. So she's still doing it. Okay. So what you're gonna do on the very end, so after you've done 2 things around all the way, two loops around all the way, is you're gonna get out your scissors and we're gonna cut each of these loops. Be careful not to cut the embroidery that we've already done. David, can you call Jessie upstairs, please? Go on. get out of here. Have I got them all? Okay. So then it looks like this. Crazy, right? So what we'll do is just trim them to the length that you want them to be. And this might be a little bit tricksy because you don't want to cut the things that you've already stitched, but you also want to keep them all about the same length. So I like to do like the actual haircut method. So I don't know if you guys do this when you get your haircut, but I'm like, just do a little bit. Okay, now just do a little bit more. Just do a little bit more. Or I just keep telling them over and over and over and over. How about a little bit more? You're gonna end up with all these little pieces like everywhere. Okay. And obviously the tweezers are your best bet for this. Okay, so after you've already done that, you've gotten all the little bits as long as or as short as you want them to be. Obviously I would do them even a little bit shorter. But you can trim them as short as you want. You can run your needle through like this, just like I showed before, and get them nice and lush looking. And don't forget, we're gonna have another layer. So on this half, I've done 2 turns around. So I've gone around once and I've gone around twice. Can you tell it looks much more full? Whereas this side, I've only gone around 1 time. So in my opinion, you need the second time to make it look really, really like full, you know? And then we'll do another color. I'm gonna do another color, but you can go another color on the inside. And then that other layer is gonna lay over top of that. Yeah? So I really hope that I'm making sense. Have a go at least on doing the 2 kind of goes around for the outer ring. And then tomorrow, I'll pop back on and do the inner one with you so that you can kind of see. And I think 2 goes around for the inside will be really good. But we might need 3, we'll see, because it's a smaller space. So it might just be that we need to do 1 more time around. I think it looks all right, you know? Like I said, it's not my most favorite stitch. I will admit that. But it's not impossible to do, you know? Just keep the motto in your head. All right, so what do we think? Oh, I've got someone at the door. Hold on. Hello? No thank you, sorry. All right, that's it for me. Sorry it took so long. Sorry for the interruptions. I hope you get it. But I will talk with you tomorrow. Bye.